My name is Piers Lee. I'm going to be your Master of Ceremonies today at the 14th Breakfast Seminar from Asia Research, the trade publication for the market research industry. Digital Indonesia 2, which I understand means Digital Indonesia 2. And I'm on the editorial team of Asia Research, but many of you will probably know me as the Managing Director of BVA BDRC in Asia. So just a few words about Asia Research. It is one of the leading industry publications for the market research and consumer insight industry in Asia, and now in its 13th year. It publishes news, articles and papers as a repository of information on research and marketing in its online knowledge center, and has a business directory and even a staff recruitment portal. It now runs the most regular series of market research seminars in Singapore and Jakarta and other Asian markets. And those serve as knowledge sharing sessions, networking sessions with practitioners in the industry, and very much targeted for the end clients rather than the agencies. And we have insight professionals here ranging from financial services, media, retail, FMCG, education and telecoms. So the program today, I will be starting with a short presentation on a survey that was done very recently among industry stakeholders, which was looking at kind of general trends in the market research industry in Asia. Thereafter, there's a paper from Alexia Sicher, co-founder of Try and Review, looking at the TripAdvisors for consumer products. Third paper, which I will introduce, but I will present jointly with my colleague Dini Islami from BDRC Asia, using your most advanced consumers to see the next. And then there'll be a break of about 15 minutes. And thereafter, we will resume with a paper from Neurosensum, from Mahesh Agarwal, using neuroscience to test potential virility of content. And finally, Kurt Thompson from ABN Impact. The game has changed. How market research can keep up. So, first of all, I'm going to give you a very short debrief on an online survey conducted by Asia Research recently. Some of you may have taken part in it. It's an annual survey that looks at the trends and the kind of sentiment of the industry in light of all the changes. And this included both clients like yourselves and agency researchers. This is a survey that's been running for several years, and I will be comparing the last 5 years, going back to 2014. One of the key questions we put to industry stakeholders is the relative balance of opportunity and threat for the market research industry in your country. And generally over the years, the industry has been optimistic, and today about half of the industry stakeholders see more opportunities for the market research industry than threats. Having said that, about 1 in 4 do see, on balance, more threats than opportunities, and we'll talk a little bit about that. One of the issues is whether corporations want to invest in market research, and given all the other investments they can make. And this is from the clients themselves. The question was, what is supporting more investment in research / consumer insight within your organization? And these were a number of factors that we measured, either a lot, that was having a big impact, or somewhat. What we see is that half of clients are saying that the requirement for management decisions to be based on evidence, insight or hard data, that is having the biggest impact on corporations investing more in research. And kind of linked to that is that research and data is penetrating organisations more. That is, it's going to more departments. More departments within the organisation are using data, consumer insight to inform on decisions. We also see senior management support for consumer insight. A third of corporations said this is having a lot of impact on corporations investing more in research. And some other factors like the need to check the health of your brand, to assist in specific sales and deals, and even to determine the management remuneration on things like customer satisfaction scoring. What is detracting from investment? The reasons are fewer, or not as strong, should I say. But one of the issues that's affecting the traditional market research industry, at least, is the use of cheaper alternatives to traditional research, such as analytics, big data, for example, just relying on databases or social media analytics to replace the kind of mainstream research that we've been doing for decades. The other thing which is quite interesting is that there is still a lack of understanding of market research and what market research can do for corporations. About 1 in 5 was saying lack of understanding of research and consumer insight actually was detracting from investments or low perceived return on investment. And there's a number of other issues, such as, as we see lower down, higher priorities for the marketing budget. So market research budgets often come out of the marketing budget, and sometimes research is battling against investments in other areas such as advertising. We asked how quickly you think the industry is changing. So this is a question we've been asking over 5 years, and it was generally in previous years people said that the rate of industry was changing quite a bit in terms of different products and services being provided in the market research industry. This year in 2018, the bar on the right, will see that the rate of change is increasing with about half, in fact slightly over half, saying there will be a lot of changes in terms of the type of organisations that do research, or even tremendous, meaning a lot of the departments and suppliers we see today will no longer exist in 5 years' time. Overall, in terms of key trends in research, research is on balance gaining status within organisations. So when we look at the factors that's driving more investment and less investment, we say, well, overall, is it gaining status? And about 2/3 said yes. Only 6% said that market research is losing status within their organisation. Some growth areas are qualitative. Who thought qualitative was dying? It was actually qualitative is seeing something of a resurgence in terms of the type of methodologies clients say they will be doing more of in the future. Yes, we have analytics, but traditional qual and quant still has its role. And new areas like user experience or UX, which is very specific to things like website interfaces and product design, is gaining. The other observation is that we asked clients when they commission research, at least for an ad hoc research, do they feel they're actually buying the agency or buying the project lead? That's the individual consultant. And so on balance, clients are saying, well, actually, I'm buying the individual rather than the agency. But we are also seeing more insourcing of research. So a lot of organizations have set up insight departments, and with technology, a lot more research can be done without having to engage an external agency. So 1/3 of corporations have seen more insourcing in the last year versus just 11% saying less insourcing, in other words, more outsourcing. What are clients looking for, and what are agencies selling? What we find is that generally clients and agencies are in tune with each other. That is, what is the demand for new products and services? Both concur that these days we need faster projects, shorter turnaround, including shorter surveys for less attentive respondents, and even in-the-moment surveys, so that is doing surveys just after a transaction. There's a few disparities between what clients are looking for and what agencies are selling. For example, clients are looking more for text analytics, whereas agencies may be trying to sell more online qualitative, where the demand is not as high as compared to what clients are saying. Innovation is driving change in the industry, and we asked what makes it difficult for you as a client to adopt new methods, new technology in market research. And we asked the agencies a corresponding question, what they think the challenges are in selling in these new products and in these new tools and solutions. Again, they generally concur that some of the challenges is lack of proof of concept of the new technology or the new methodology. New solutions can be expensive. There can be a need to track results over time, so it's difficult to switch to a new methodology if you've been tracking, for example, customer satisfaction through traditional methods in the past. There is, though, a disparity between what agencies think and what clients are saying when it comes to things like complexity of those solutions. Clients, for example, are saying, what is being sold to me? About a third are saying that the methods are just too complicated. So innovation is generating these rather complicated solutions, or they're just too fanciful. Whereas the agencies, they don't realize that what they're trying to sell to clients is actually too complex or too fanciful. So just in conclusion, optimism in the industry remains high. The status of consumer insight is rising because management needs to make decisions based on evidence. There are cheap substitutes, and insourcing does represent a major threat to agencies. The rate of change of the industry is increasing. Clients and agencies are mostly aligned in terms of their priorities, that is speed, although online qual might be overrated and there's more demand for text analytics. And lack of proof of concepts could hold innovation back. Agencies don't realise that their methods are too fanciful and too complicated. But this is just a highlight of the report that Asia Research will be circulating across the industry in January 2019. Now, one last finding I'll leave you with is where clients see the most, where they want to invest outside of their home market. And so excluding your home market, where do you expect to be investing most in consumer insight and market research? So China does lead, but you'll see that Indonesia actually ranks number 2. Admittedly, the survey was done with a Southeast Asia bias with many clients in Singapore, but it does demonstrate the importance of the Indonesian market. So that does conclude that short introduction on that stakeholder survey.